What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so shout out to the channel's name is Uncommon Sense. All right, so that's the video. Well, that's the channel, I should say, that I saw the video that had this audio. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's audio that has surfaced from 2019 of Pat McAfee blasting LeBron James. Okay. Now I don't have the audio right now. Like I heard the audio on his channel, but that's his channel, so I didn't want to play his audio from his channel. And I looked online. I haven't quite seen it surface like by itself to play it. But in essence, from doing a little research, I believe this audio is from late October 2019. And in this audio, Pat McAfee is blasting LeBron James for being extremely unlikable. Mind you, this is 5.5 years ago. So, if he was unlikable then, my God, now. But he was blasting LeBron James for yelling during a national anthem. This was, I believe, right around the time of the situation where Daryl Morey had said something critical about China, I believe it was. And then LeBron James, being the ultimate puppet, came out and blasted Daryl Morey, basically almost came out as being pro-China over pro-US. And he never caught flack for that, really, not like he should have. And then the very next game, I think the very next game Lakers played, during the national anthem, LeBron James starts yelling, like, yeah, let's go, whatever, during the singing of the national anthem. Like I said, he's the Teflon Don when it comes to criticism. He doesn't get criticized for things that other athletes get buried under the bus or thrown on the bus, I should say, for far less offenses. Now, this was around the time that Pat McAfee had just started doing his show, the Pat McAfee Show. Matter of fact, I think he started doing it in September of that year. For several years until I think 2016 or 2017, he was a punter in the NFL, I believe for the Indianapolis Colts. And so, of course, he has built his brand as one of the blockbuster sports analysts out there. So this is significant because, of course, LeBron James recently appeared on the Pat McAfee Show. And this goes to show you, now look, it could be possible, perhaps, that Pat McAfee doesn't feel the same way about LeBron James, but I have a hard time believing that shit. If Pat McAfee could see that then, I don't see how you could change your mind with all the evidence of stuff that's out there now. But that goes to show you how a lot of people in the media, or should I say people who are part of the media, they hold their tongue and keep their private thoughts to themselves and private views to themselves because this is a business. And, the business of talking basketball, you have to do, unless you're part of an independent media, then it's different. But if you're part of ESPN, the conglomerate that is ESPN, Disney, etc., you got to hold your tongue and kiss the ass of people who you don't really particularly care for. Okay? And I'm pretty sure that's what Pat McAfee did. When you're just starting out and, when you only have a few thousand subscribers or when you have more autonomy and independence, you can speak your mind more. Now, Pat McAfee does have more flexibility than most, but still, he's part of ESPN to a certain extent. No matter how much freedom they may give him, he still has to say certain things or be, civil and courteous because of, he needs likes, clicks, ratings, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But in the end, that's another example of how privately a lot of these people in the media, they don't like this dude. For years, Stephen A. Smith, and I don't particularly care for him, right? At all. But for years, Stephen A. Smith, when he was on ESPN First Take with Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith would defend LeBron James for some of the takes that Skip Bayless would have about LeBron, which was way out there. Even some of the things that he would blame LeBron for, I thought were going too far. And it wasn't necessarily because Stephen A. Smith loved him some LeBron. It's that you could argue that's just what it was. Good cop, bad cop when it comes to LeBron James, appeasing both sides of the coin. Now we know, at least in recent years, Stephen A. Smith doesn't like LeBron James. Even though he wasn't very critical of him, except for really that one time when he said something about his son, about LeBron, stop doing this to your son. But before that, he went on his way not to talk about Bronny James. But that's how it is, man. You can't be a really good person if on the one hand, you talk about Brian Windhorst being one of your closest friends in the media, and then when you're on Pat McAfee's show, you shit on him and then call him basically a weirdo. Which, by the way, I wish LeBron James fans realize that's how he really feels about all of you. I mean, he got you guys a Barbie doll. He doesn't think you guys are men. Think about that for a second. Now LeBron James action figure got you guys Barbie dolls. You can make an argument that one of the reasons why he has been going around shirtless during games, or before games, not during games, but before games, is he knows his fan base. And he knows what you guys want to see. It ain't about sports with some of these dudes, man. Look, we done seen some of these dudes, man. When you talking about teenagers, we talking about grown-ass men referring to LeBron James as my Pookie Bear. That's my Buki King. Come on, man. He don't rock with y'all. But anyway, yeah, this ain't surprising, man. This ain't surprising at all, man. That's how the entertainment industry is. You have people on your podcast who you don't really like, you know what I'm saying? But hey, they're a huge brand. And then another thing, if this has to be pointed out, and I heard Uncommon Sense say this too. If Pat McAfee doesn't really rock with you, right? Personally, why go on his podcast? Why not go on the podcast of people who rock with you, like hard, like Shannon Sharp, like Gilbert Arenas? Hell, has LeBron James ever made a guest appearance on, what is it called? First Things First? Whatever it's called now, with Pelican Nose? Never been on that show. And I hate to say this, but it has to be stated. For a guy that his fan base loved to call the Muhammad Ali of the modern era, Pat McAfee, Steve Nash, JJ Redneck, I don't know, man. Don't know. The brothers who show you love, you don't show them love back. But you go on people's podcasts who are say they done with you. They say that they been done with you for 6 years, brother, and you still go on there and use your white phone voice. Ha ha ha.
Cornmeal.